All right then, welcome to another edition of the Sunday Bunch down here at the Hastings Hill pub. Once again, we need to say a big thank you to George and the team who allow us to come down here and use the studio to film in. So a big thanks to the team at the Hastings Hill. Don't forget superb Sunday dinners they do. They do food all through the week and it's a great atmosphere. So if you're passing the Hastings Hill, pop in, see the guys and you get a nice warm welcome. On the panel this week then, with myself, wee Philly, we have The Mad Mistake, we have Sean Middleton, and the return of Michael Bowers.
Not blow my own trumpet.
So we've got a lot to discuss this week, and I would like to start with midweek when we went to Sheffield United in the Carabao Cup. Before we discuss that, we'll quickly go through the predictions, the negativity of the people predicting, and see if anybody actually went for a Sunderland win. So, The Mad Mistake, you predicted...
A 1-0 win?
You predicted a Max Power screamer, didn't you? I'm sure I remember watching.
Right, Mad Mistake, you said 3-0 to Sheffield United. Sean? 3-0 to Sheffield United. Dino... Who's not here said 2-0. Michael, had he been here last week, would have said 3-0 Sheffield United.
I meant 3-0 Sunderland.
So, you know? And of course...
No, you didn't.
And of course, I got it wrong, but I did say 2-1 to Sunderland, and I was ridiculed and laughed at and said I was on drugs and everything and all that. So there you go. So, we went to Sheffield United. We got a 1-0 win. Do you want to start us off? What did you think of it? Good performance?
It was a very good performance. You know, Lee Burgeon goal was absolutely fantastic. Made a couple of good saves. One fantastic save in the first 10 minutes. Kept us in the match. Give us something to build on. And then Max Power was absolutely fantastic goal. Like I said last week, we need to bring Max Power back into the fold. If he recaptures the form he played it with when he played for Wigan, he scored some really fantastic goals for Wigan, mind. And he scored another crack against Sheffield, which was brilliant. The team, the defence was great. New lads came in, Bock and
Lynch,
and Colin McLaughlin on the right. Got a solid defence, good goalkeeping, and it's a good platform to build on. Midfield did really well, Power and McGeoch, and Luke O'Nien in his little triangle role where he was just sort of behind the striker, and Charlie White up front. So it was an all-round good performance. I mean, I do think Sheffield United did underperform on the day, but you can't take it away that we upped our game, and I think you can't expect any more than a nice victory down there, Bramall Lane.
Sean?
Yeah, obviously it's beating the Premier League side. It's a good achievement, and they made 10 changes going into the game. Michael will probably say something about that. We made changes as well, but they made 10 changes. I don't think Sheffield United will take the competition seriously. I think their objective this season is to stay in the Premier League, just like Burnley's was a few weeks ago. So I'm not taking a gloss off the win.
Yes, you are.
It's a good win. But
he is really.
I don't think I wouldn't read too much into that game. I mean, the biggest thing for me was obviously the last time we beat Burnley 3-1, and then we got beat Peterborough United. This time that changed. So it was a good performance, good win. But let's get ready. We're not going to win the cup, but it's a confidence booster, and it was the right thing to do going into the MK Dons game.
Michael?
John's never happy, is he? We win at a Premier League ground, he says, oh no, we're not going to win the cup, man, get real. No, it's pretty much echoing what all the guys have said. I mean, yeah, Sheffield United made changes, but as Sean correctly predicted, we made about 7 or 8 changes. So, and even if you say Sheffield United made about 10 changes, the team that they had out should have been good enough to beat Sunderland, let's face it. So, to go there and win and score a screamer, great. I mean, I think it's less of a surprise than the Burnley result was, because Burnley had like Danny Drinkwater, Jay Rodriguez, and whoever else, Aaron Lennon in their team. But nevertheless, look, can't take it away. Go to Sheffield United, a club who's 2 divisions higher than us, and win against a team that should still even beat us. Can't complain, really.
Yeah.
All right, so we then draw Oxford away in the next round. Do we want to go to Wembley again?
No.
Let's face it, if we beat Oxford and we got Crawley and Colchester playing each other, we have to get another good draw against Crawley or Colchester. We could make it to the semi-finals against someone like Manchester City.
Never get stuffed 18-0.
As long as we keep playing, we keep resting the first team, let the the reserve side come in and have a few matches and just give them some experience. And no, everybody wants to go to Wembley regardless. It's another cup match, the season goes by. You tend to forget things as, especially with the memory I've got. Those 2 Wembley defeats last season just disappear if we go to Wembley again. So
I wish they could disappear in my mind as much as that.
I think the biggest thing for me was keeping the clean sheet. That's our first clean sheet of the season. I mean, I was actually confident going to the game on Saturday against St. Duns. I thought we kept the clean sheet. I was confident we were going to keep another clean sheet on Saturday. Because that back four, that's got to be the back four. That's got to be the back four going forward. You know what I mean? Just don't change it. Keep them as the back four. Get them training on the training field, and I think we could keep a few clean sheets now. Hopefully.
So, would you want to go to Wembley?
No. I'm interested in Wembley. I just want to get promoted. I mean, I went to Wembley twice. That's as you did as well, and it's heartbreaking. It was the Checkatree that was horrible. Getting beaten in the playoff final was just even worse. It was absolutely heartbreaking.
So. Oh, well, go on. We'll ask you first, Michael. Go to Wembley. Would you like to go to Wembley again?
If it's in this competition, yeah. If it's in that leasing tin pot name trophy, then I don't really want to. I mean, I know what Sean said about the trips to Wembley last season. I wasn't overly that bothered about losing the Checkatrade final because it was a competition. It was a day. I saw that as a day out more than anything. And obviously, the playoff final, we all know what happened there. But for this competition, I mean, obviously, look, Oxford beat West Ham 4-0, so they're not going to be pushovers. But it's an opportunity to get the quarters, and even if you get. Even as it is, we've probably got at least 2 rounds further in the cup than I thought we would. I mean, for me, if you're going to have a cup run, it's got to be this competition. I think you should forget about the leasing.com trophy. You should forget about the FA Cup. I know we're not going to because we probably could do with earning a bit of money from it. But this competition would provide the opportunity for me for Wembley. But obviously, if you get a Premier League club, it's going to be.
Could it be a distraction, Michael? Could it be a little bit of a distraction? Like maybe the excuses start coming in. Oh, we'll get it.
Yeah, you're usually the one who's knows to no excuses.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I know what you mean.
If we beat Oxford and we get the quarters, and it's like, oh yeah, it's good. This
depends what team.
Takes us away from that, and we switch off from the league. Which is
I'll ask you this as a counter question: would you say it's a distraction if we got knocked out the other 2 cup competitions relatively early?
I do want to say one thing on the record. I want to win the FA Cup.
well, let me quickly.
That'd be great.
Let me quickly put it to you because obviously we're doing well in the Carabao Cup now. So you have the choice: you go to Wembley and you win the Carabao Cup, but you don't get promoted.
Philly, let's get real, mate. We're not going to win the League Cup. You know
he's asking in a hypothetical sense. Would you want to?
Right. We go to Wembley and we win the cup. That happens. However, we don't get promoted. Are you happy with that?
Well, promotion's the goal.
Simple yes or no, I'll do.
No.
So you're not happy with that? We win the cup, but we don't get promoted this season.
I'd say I'm happy with that. I'm happy to win it.
On the condition we get promoted easily the following season, yes.
Well, see, for me, I'd be more than happy, right, to win the cup and not go up this season. And I'll tell you for why, right? We'll get promoted eventually out of this league, right? Now, everybody's saying we've got to go up this season and stuff like that, right? Over the years, over our history, right? You don't go, oh yeah, in 1976 we got promoted here, oh we won the league there, whatever. What you do, you remember in 1937 we won the FA Cup, in 1973 we won the Cup, and that's it. So if we won the Cup this year, the Carabao Cup, throughout the history, you would say that would be another day. You wouldn't say.
I know what you're saying, Philly, but what I'm saying is we need to get real. We're not going to win the cup. You know what I mean? We're not going to win the cup this season. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, well let's get real. Yeah. We was going to 2 Premier League grounds away from home, and we weren't going to win them, really, were we?
I suppose in fairness,
you can't say we're not going to win.
I suppose in fairness, it's one thing. I suppose it's one thing beating Burnley and Sheffield United. But if you're going to, I'll tell you what. If we faced like Manchester City in the later round, that would be the biggest upset in Carabao Cup history. If we would have beat them.
Right. Okay then. So what about Norwich beating Man City 3-2? 25-1 they were to beat them.
That is true.
Beat them. It's
true, but like Norwich's team's a Premier League team, though. A League One side. Look, I hope so. It'd be great if we did. That's what you. I know what you're saying. That's what you remember football for. You don't remember it for the. We got knocked out the cup in the 3rd round, but we got promoted. You don't remember that. You remember the historic cup wins. So look, I'm with you. I'm not expecting to win this cup, but it's, if you're in it, try and have a good run, I suppose.
Let's face it. This next round of the cup, Man City could get beat to Southampton. Possible. Yeah. Liverpool could get beat. Liverpool players. But
Liverpool are playing Arsenal and Chelsea are playing Man United. So 2 of them are going out straight away. So
anyway, it's just it was just to chuck
you can't say you wouldn't want to win it though. If you got a chance to.
Obviously, I love us to win a cup, but
I know what you mean, but like if you want,
hypothetically, like
all right, then I'm gonna have to separate you two. You're gonna have to have sat either end of the desk in a bit. Right, let's move on. All right, let's before we get into yesterday's game against the MK Dons, we had a comment on. Well, it was one of your. I think it was one of your fan reaction videos down at Bolton, and somebody was saying that we should more or less edit out the people. This is it's showing us in a bad light. You know, we're interviewing fans who and they're making us look stupid and things like that. Now, the idea of us setting this channel up initially was always to give a platform for the fans, and regardless of you know what they say, everybody has different opinions, right? And we're not the BBC, we're not ITV, we're not you know, we can go out there and everybody should have a right to just come on and say what they want, whatever that opinion is, however good, bad, you know, they should be given that platform, and that's what we intend to do on this channel. And I don't really think we should be editing someone out because certain people don't agree with how they're putting themselves.
It's like you said, it's also down to people to be respectful of each other's opinions. That should go without saying.
As long as there's no violence.
Exactly. There was you know, tensions were running high, and you handle it superbly last week. And there was, you know, people do get angry, and they tend to get angry with the person doing the interview, and you know, well, you know, and it's just. So long as we can sort of keep our heads, but I wanted to get that across. The channel's going to be sort of open to everybody to put their opinions out there, and that's what we intend to do.
Most of the feedback's been positive as well.
Like Philly said, their emotions are running high. I mean, us as the team, look, it's not going to be pretty when we get outside. I mean, some angry people, you've just got to be strong and assertive. Obviously, you know. I mean, fair,
we drew with Bolton, so people weren't exactly going to be rosy, were they?
Exactly.
So
you know, it's like Philly said there. You're going to get people who's going to lose their temper. They're going to swear. You know
So all the more bigger pat on the back for you for handling it. Well done, man.
Right.
Well done.
Okay then. So yesterday, off the back of the 1-0 win at Sheffield United, we were back in the league at home to the MK Dons. Everybody excited, hoping for 3 points. We got the 2-1 win. So I'm going to start with the new lads at the back, De Bock and Lynch. What do you think?
I was really impressed with them both. I really thought that they wouldn't be able to play yesterday, but playing Wednesday, being now injured for so long. Sometimes it takes a long time to recover after being injured for a while, to have a first 90 minutes, and then you got to take more than a couple of days to recover. But they both came in. I thought Bock did absolutely fantastic on the left-hand side, and I thought Lynch was great in the centre of defence as well. I thought both of them was like, you know, couldn't ask for any more for them two for the first league appearances for me.
So, and do you think De Bock got taken off then purely because he played midweek and is probably not fully match fit?
I kind of thought Lynch might have came off as well, because in the first half he was holding his leg a little bit. I didn't know whether he got picked up a niggle, but I thought De Bock was basically just he ran out of steam.
Right, you're holding my leg under here.
Right. Mustn't be me, it must be Sean.
Michael.
Now.
Who's under the table?
So,
good thing the viewers can't see that.
Right then, Sean, Lynch and De Bock.
Brilliant. Do you know, it's the first time watching the match, and it wasn't great, but watching it, I didn't feel like there was a goal from the other team. That's the first time I've had that this season.
Yeah, first half.
I just first half. I just thought we look pretty solid.
Yeah.
And I think I said 3 weeks ago. I said that was the back four, and that was the back four played yesterday. I said De Bock, Lynch, Willis, Scotland. I said that would be the back four, and obviously it's as long as they can keep fit, and you know, I never conceded a goal again, but like I see that's got to be the way forward. That back four for me, it's got to be.
Yeah, I think. It did kind of annoy me. A lot of people that were writing De Bock off straight away when he came along, just because that he hasn't done well at Leeds in 7 games. De Bock did well yesterday, and I think he looked quite assured, quite composed. But I think Lynch for me was man of the match, though. Of course, and I know people have got different opinions. For me, though, I just think, especially in the second half, when we were under the cosh a little bit, Lynch, someone on Twitter, I can't remember who it was, so shout out to whoever it was, said they compared it to a Yunus Kabul-esque type performance, which, it actually does remind me of him a little bit. He looked composed, he got his body in the way, and whenever he was having to shrug off an opposition player, he did it with pretty much relative ease, the strength that he's got. So I think those two did well, yes.
Yeah, he got some massive stick from the Leeds fans. When we bought him on social media, they were saying like the worst player they'd ever seen in a Leeds shirt and stuff like that. But we can only go on what we've seen.
I mean, here's the point. It is one game, obviously. If Buck does that consistently, then
and we're in a different level to where Leeds are, aren't we?
Yeah, that's true. We're facing much lesser opposition than what they were.
Yeah, I was well happy with both of them. Obviously, I didn't see the game in midweek, but I heard good reports on that they'd both done well. So it was my first chance of actually watching them play yesterday, and I was impressed with both of them. Like I say, Lynch especially. Right, so you sit down in your seat yesterday, and then you see Luke O'Nien, and you're thinking, where's he playing? So he was, his new position up front, attacking there. What do we think of that?
I think it's fantastic. I'm pleased he's there. I mean, to be honest, the first 10-15 minutes yesterday, I thought it was pretty dire. I thought it was just hoofing long balls forward. It wasn't very good.
Yeah,
Charlie
15
White.
minutes it was, yeah.
Charlie White's not winning anything. And when he actually wins the ball, the referee gives a foul against him every single time. So is it worth having Charlie White up there because he gives that many free kicks away? He did have the assist for Power's goal, which was a good, nice touch. But Luke O'Nien, he's like a rubber ball. He hits the ground. He's just bouncing back up all of the time. Exactly. Absolutely fantastic. He gives 110% of every player. Give the passion, the dedication, the want, the drive, the will, the need to win the ball and try and win a game of football. Every player had his determination. We wouldn't be where we are now. Yeah. I'm telling you now.
Yeah. Sean?
What do you guys think about, obviously, I thought it was a game of 2 hours. I thought we were good in the first half and we were absolutely terrible in the second half.
Second half, Sunderland.
What do you, what's he saying then players at half time? I know.
Well, let's get,
win 2-0, right?
Well, let's go on Luke O'Nien first, because I'm going to bring this point up in a bit anyway. So, Luke O'Nien in his new position where he played, and was he just playing off?
I think it's number 10
White,
role. I think it's number 10 role.
Right,
that way.
He's committed to the cause. He got the goal yesterday. He hit the post. He played well. I think playing Luke O'Nien in attacking role is mad. But I mean, playing him in defence in right back, he's getting wasted there because he's not a defender. First of all, he's made a few mistakes, but it's not his fault. He's just playing out of position. Now he's playing in a position where he can be effective. He's looking like he's blossoming now.
Yeah, he had a great game yesterday. Michael?
No, I mean, what's been said already, like O'Nien on top of scoring had 2 good chances, one that hit the post and one that went straight at the keeper, so he terrorised MK Don's back line the first half. Funny enough, actually, I don't know what you guys think. When he scored, initially I didn't think it was a goal. I didn't, because it stopped for a second, I didn't think the officials were going to allow it.
Whereabouts do you sit in the...
Northwest corner.
Right, okay.
So it's pretty much at my end.
Apparently somebody said, apparently it didn't cross the line to be honest, but the way Luke O'Nien went running towards the linesman, cheering as if he scored the goal, kind of made the linesman's mind up for me. Or if the linesman was sort of unsure, he sort of went, okay.
I think he saw that.
Did the referee not give it?
The linesman gave it. I think
Maguire's got a new name for rival for captain shit. I was like,
I think the linesman gave it, and the fact that he was facing the linesman was why he was so confident to celebrate. But we have the goal line technology already set up there, and I did think, I'm in the West Stand, and from where I was, I didn't think it was in, but I'm more of an angle, so I'm not
it looks different from where you sit.
So it didn't look into me, and I thought if we'd have had the goal line technology, I don't think that would have been given. But again, so the thing is because that technology is there, should that not be, if it's installed in your ground, should it not be used while you're there? And I know it would have probably gone against us yesterday. However, it could have been the other way around. Well, exactly. Where it could have been a not given.
Exactly. If it was the other way around, we'd be screaming for.
Or is it just one of them things that if you're going to do it at certain ground, it has to be the whole league?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to ask what MK Dons fans would have thought of that then.
I was behind the goal when it went in, and I seen it in slow motion, and their player was behind the line. So where the ball was sat that high up in the air, you didn't know whether it actually went.
I mean, to me, but I mean, I wouldn't use it. I've already seen it from the corner. I've only seen it from the corner once, but I've seen it on replays a couple of times. And to me, it looks like it partially crosses the line, but it doesn't. But the defender heads the ball away before it fully crosses the white line. So you're right though. I think if we're going to have the stadium and the facilities to accommodate goal line technology. So it should be. The problem is that the league we're in, no one cares about enough to probably to justify enough. If we're in the Championship, we could probably use it. I mean,
it's causing a lot of problems in the Premier League, but to be fair, if it's in the Premier League, it should be filtered through all the league, shouldn't it?
I mean, in fairness, we did get away with a goal line thing last season against Bradford, if you remember.
Aye. Well, isn't goal line technology 100% certain? I mean,
yeah.
So
well, it is.
So
it's just like it's either in or out. And that's
like VAR where it's dubious.
I think as long as you make it clear what the rules are, then there should be no complaints.
So, Luke O'Nien. So we're happy with him sort of being in that role. Who would you partner him with then? Because did it work with White? With White being the bigger, the taller attacker? Or...
He played like Gooch on the left, and he was obviously 4-2-3 once, so he played like Gooch, Maguire through the middle, and O'Nien won it. That was the three behind.
I would think Gooch and all that probably interchanged a bit. I think to answer your question though, I do think it's probably White probably played just because McNulty wasn't fit.
Yeah.
So if McNulty, I mean, let's be honest, if McNulty was available, would White have started?
No, definitely
not. No. So.
As I'm saying, that's just in the player. It's like it doesn't suit Charlie White at all. That's something I remember stated earlier on. I think Charlie White is probably best if he's got somebody next to him. A 4-4-2. I mean, McNulty does he does a lot of running as well, doesn't he? Across the channel, and he comes and gets it. And I felt sorry for Charlie White yesterday a little bit. He just wasn't getting any.
All right, we'll do another question, shall we?
I think that likes of if you play a 4-4-2. The way Burnley play 4-4-2, you got Ashley Barnes, who as soon as he loses the ball, go back and help the midfield straight away. Luke O'Nien has that much energy. He could do that. He could do that role.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So you touched on it. Why were we so awful second half? Then some say we sat back.
I don't know.
Sean's dying.
Sean, you started off there.
Honestly, right, I don't know what he says to them players at half time. I honestly don't know what he says to them. I mean, we're winning the game 2-0. That's all good, good. But I mean, would you? I know I've won the game, but would you not like think, no, gone for a third, gone for a fourth?
Do you honestly think that he goes in the dressing room and says, right, lads, we're 2-0 up now, right? So what we'll do, we'll sit back. Because people have said to me...
I think he does.
People have said to me, second half, we sat back. I thought we tried to get a goal. We tried a few times to get a goal. I just think that MK Dons played better the second half. They came on to us and...
Because we were sinking further and further back. It was like... 2-0 up, we're just going further and further back, and there's going to be a goal.
But if you're going by that definition, though, are we honestly expecting MK Dons wouldn't have attacked the second half? They're losing 2-0. They've got to go for it. Sometimes I don't believe for 1 second that Jack Ross is telling them to sit back. I know it feels like it sometimes.
But do you think it's the players?
Yeah, Sean. When you're winning a game and the opposition come back, it's an instinctive thing. Even if the manager tells you not to do that, it's an instinctive thing to do. That's not Ross's fault.
I just think that we do it quite a lot. I mean,
but the problem was, right, I got a cup of tea at half time and it tasted shite, and I thought that was Jack Ross's fault as well, because that's what you think. You just think he's to blame for everything.
The thing is, right?
No, I mean, I thought getting in the stadium was really crowded. Jack Ross out. Come on, that's not good enough.
That game yesterday, we should have scored at least 3 to 4 goals yesterday. We weren't clinical up front. That's where we need another striker like McNulty up front, who probably would have scored a couple of more goals.
Yeah, exactly.
If we go into that second half 3 or 4-0 up, the game's done and dusted, simple as. Yeah. We went in there at half time and the players thought, because they dominated and had that many chances, they thought they were going to do exactly the same in the second half. And MK Dons, like you say, to them, they raised their game. They have to raise the game. Their manager would have gotten stuck into them at half time.
He would have played into them.
You've been absolutely garbage the first half. We've come up here. These fans have travelled over from London. They come up here to watch this play. You need to go out there and show that you want to perform for them. And they've went out, and to their due, they performed. Yeah. And we haven't. We've kind of just sort of sat back a bit, thinking that we're going to win the game easy. It's a combination of both for me.
Stop you there. Milton Keynes is not in London, by the way.
And that's not
Close
London,
by,
but
though, right.
a lot of their fans will probably be from London.
My geography's terrible. Like, I don't know.
Michael, so, did we sit back at half time, or why were we awful second half?
Mixture of both, really, though, because I think, again, MK Dons, at half time I said, look, MK Dons are going to be much better. They've got to be. They're losing the game. They want to get something out of the game, so they're going to have to raise their game. They're going to have to be better. For me, I do think Jack Ross could maybe lay into the players a bit more in terms of half-time team talk. I'm not saying like half-time yesterday, because first half, certainly the last 20 minutes of the first half, we were good. But in games where I haven't been good enough, maybe Ross does do that, we just don't see it. We just don't notice it. But for me, yeah, I think it's an instinctive thing from the players that we just sat back a bit more. And again,
I think it is, but I don't think we actually played fantastic anyway, to be honest.
I thought the only period in time we played well was between Power's goal and half-time.
Exactly.
That 20 minutes could have easily been out of sight.
And
but
to
even
be
as
fair...
even as you said in the second half, we could have... Who was it that had the chance? Was it Maguire? Or someone had the chance to make it 3-1. It was a laid-down ball into the box. And
Charlie White was clean through, wasn't he?
Oh, come out to Power, didn't it? Gooch had a shot or something and came out to Power, and the goalie just saved it and knocked it around. Oh, yeah, there was...
They had a stanchion twice, didn't they?
Exactly. So if we were sitting back, wouldn't have had any chances at all.
Yeah, it's... I mean, I thought first half, I had my 3-1 bet all the time. I thought, well, these are not going to score and we're going to win this 4-5-0. Because it looked like that. It looked like that first half.
Yeah. I did believe at half-time they were going to score a goal. We always let a goal in somehow.
I did think 2-0 is a dangerous scoreline, so I kind of thought just get the third one and then try and see if you can seal it. Because I thought at 2-0 you're never fully secure, well, especially with Sunderland, you're never usually fully secure, are you?
Right. So once again, as we've just said, we conceded a goal. People around me were starting to say John McLaughlin should be dropped for the next game, saying that he was at fault for the goal what went in. What are your views? Do you think John McLaughlin should be dropped?
I think it would do no harm to give him a rest for a game and put Burge in. I think Burge has proved in the cup matches that he can perform. He's a competent goalkeeper, and I think if it's good competition to have both goalkeepers on fire, and if you put Burge in for the next match, it'll make John McLaughlin work even harder to get back into the team. I don't see what the problem is.
Sean?
Obviously,
I do like them both.
I think that it's good that we've got two goalkeepers now. I mean, going back to the championship days when we had Steele, Whiter, and
don't remind me.
Jesus Christ!
Don't remind me.
I mean, it's actually really good now. We've got two keepers. I mean, another goal yesterday. My mistake said about he thought he could have maybe come out the keeper. I think the goal was. I think McLaughlin was his fault.
Conor McLaughlin.
Yeah, Conor McLaughlin. Sorry. But I think it's a really good selection headache for the manager, like to have two goalkeepers. I mean, bringing Burge in. I mean, he's kept a clean sheet during the week. He looks solid. He looks composed. I mean, it's a good thing to have now. I mean, I don't know whether
it doesn't hurt having competition, does it?
It's great, I mean,
it's good that Burge is keeping him on his toes. I mean, for the goal yesterday, I mean, I've said it's a mixture of both McLaughlins for me because I didn't think John looked that good, comfortable on his goal line. But again, I feel like I'm saying this every single week. But the ball came in and the header came from Conor McLaughlin's side. He didn't track his man. He didn't follow with the runner. Why on earth do players not mark men anymore?
It was just simple
to
defend.
Really starting to annoy me.
It was the ball come across. You watch it, and I watch it just downstairs there, and the ball's come across, and you just watching it.
But look at the acres of space that the attacker was in there with all.
It was just like it's.
John McLaughlin could have probably looked a bit more composed, but both of them I think are just as at fault equally for it.
Well, if the keeper went out for the cross or went out for he would have stopped it. If he stayed on his line, it wouldn't have been a goal. He can't be indecisive. He's got to go for it and not go for it.
But then you could say Conor McLaughlin, if he was in the right position, though, could have headed the ball away.
Yeah, but if the keeper makes a mistake, everyone sees it. The last line of defence is going to be the keeper. If he makes the right choice, the goal doesn't go in.
That is true, but the whole point of the defence in front of you is to make sure it doesn't get to the goalkeeper.
The next point I'm going to make is obviously the next time international games come up. I think my mistake was last time. Surely we've got a keeper now who can replace McLaughlin, so we kind of call the game off.
But in that sense, Burge would get his chance, probably, I think, wouldn't he?
He's got. I mean, we've got a keeper there who's capable, more than capable, that can come in and do a job. Well, we didn't have this,
Right, so do you think he deserves to be dropped, Michael? Or
at the moment, no.
Right.
I think you could say yesterday, and maybe the last couple of games looked possibly shaky, but I think before there's not really been much he's done wrong, I think.
I don't think as well, I agree with Michael, I don't think at the minute, but it's a good headache to have.
What you said
Burge is knocking on the door.
What you said in the car on the way here, that if Burge was to be put in, I wouldn't be devastated about it, because he probably just deserves it, but it probably would be somewhat harsh on McLaughlin. Just be thankful you've got two good keepers.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, you know. I think for me, I think John McLaughlin was at fault for the goal. I think it was all over the place. He was, but does he deserve to be dropped? I think he's done that well. He was probably one of our best players last season, and he's not really done much wrong this season. I think it'd be harsh to drop him. But as I said to Michael in the car, Burge got put in. I wouldn't be devastated because he's done a
See what you guys in the comments say. See what you guys think. Who should be playing?
So why are the fans so hard to win over at the moment? And this, we're probably going to start with you on this. I mean, are their expectations too high?
Definitely not. I think it's a combination of people still hurting off last season. Obviously, I'm going to football matches now. I'll be honest. I was sitting at Dino. I'm going to them now, and I'm just not enjoying going to the matches. And I don't know if that's because of Jack Ross or just the league we're in. But obviously, I love Sunderland Football Club. I'll support them all my life. But I just it's just not enjoyable. We're not going to watch great football in League One. We're not where we are. We're there for a reason. But
I've always said, you know, for me, if we won every game 1-0 and it was a shit game and it would just, you know, and you win the league, then
it just doesn't matter. Right?
I think the only time you can start, if you're in the Premier League and you're up the top and you're winning and it's not nice football and you're in that position, then I think you can then start looking at, well, actually, we want to be winning and playing nice football, you know. But at the moment, you know, we need to get out of this league. And I was just still astounded yesterday on my interviews. We'd won again, we'd won midweek, we'd won again, and it was still, there's fans coming out going, it's shit. I
just think it's just the negativity. It is a bit negative.
It's caused by you?
No. I think it's
You're Mr. Jack Ross man, come on.
It's caused by 29,970, whatever it was.
Not me, didn't count me in on that.
I think it's just a case of people still hurting off last season. I think, you know, it was really hard to take us getting beaten in the playoff final and us failing in a sense. But that's still carried over to this season. I think
we failed by that much.
That's though, not
by. No, but that's a fine line, though, Philly. Between being a good manager and being not very good.
Apart from the odd bit of magic, it is poor. It is shit football.
It is.
It's really, really dire football. The passing's shocking. You know, you get spells of 20 minutes of really intense football, then we just fall away. Why can't we do that for 90 minutes?
Right. Okay. So we play our next game down at Lincoln, right? And we play like Barcelona and we're passing it all. There's tricks going everywhere, whatever, and we lose 1-0.
It would never happen.
Well, no, are you? Well, how can you say it would never happen? So, but would you be happy because you go? Well, at least we played well but we lost.
I don't want to see Barcelona style play. I don't want to see tricks. I want to see every player give 100% in that pitch. You know, and show the fans that they really want to wear the shirt. That's what you want. Yesterday, the amount of passes that went astray was unbelievable. It's just basic football.
That's all us fans.
And don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying my football at this moment in time more than I've ever enjoyed it. I really love going to the match and I love a victory. There's nothing better than a victory. I'd rather win 2-1 poor football than lose 1-0 great football. Exactly. We all like to win. And at the end of the day, wins. It's the most important thing. But we have to look at the bigger picture. You know, we need to get better as a squad, as a team, and we've got to start playing, at least show some passion with a lot of players. Ulrich 9 is a prime example of somebody giving everything.
I mean, going back to your question, Philly, the expectations too high. I mean, you know, we're in this league for a reason, but we're the biggest team in this league, and the day, you know, you have the biggest transfer budget. I mean, I think we've got the best squad. I mean, you lads might disagree, but I think we have got the best squad. It's now getting to do it on that football pitch that falls down to the manager.
I think I kind of fall in the middle everywhere because I do think on the one hand we did fail by margins last year, but it can't be ignored. Not going up was a failure. Jack Ross himself had set it out and said that it was a failure to not go, you know. And at the end of the day, last season remember after we beat Rochdale, we were level on points with Barnsley, 2 games in hand. Yeah. Even Jack Ross in defence after it, not going up from that position is shocking. You know, but at the same time we had a second chance at Wembley to go up, which we didn't take. I think it's because of the desperation to get out of League One. Because let's be honest, I know we don't have the God-given right to be in the Premier League or the Championship. But if you're looking at it, a competently run Sunderland would never ever find itself in League One. It wouldn't even find itself in the Championship, to be honest. But
for me, right, the 2 seasons, the last season in the Premier and the last season in the Championship, where I'll be honest, I mean, I had my season tickets, and there was times I didn't even go because I thought I've got better things I could be doing.
Yeah.
And it was just, I was going to the match, and I wasn't even. You didn't even get your seat to go. You weren't even getting that. You was there, and it was shit. And so here we are now. We're in League One. I think it's great. We're winning games and stuff like that. I would rather have another season, even another 2 seasons down here, right, getting it right, building the club from the bottom up, so that when we do go up, then we can be better than we've ever been.
This is where I do side with you on this, because I do think that people need to remember, like, if people really think that some players don't care now, I suggest they go back and watch the Championship season again. No one can tell me a single player in that season, apart from maybe Catamol, O'Shea and all that, and Honeyman and Gooch, cared. They didn't. I'm sorry. If they wouldn't have finished bottom of that league if they cared enough. Yeah. So that's the point. Like, there was times during the Championship, I'm sorry, I know it struck a nerve with me that season. I can never forget it, never forgive it. So for the fact that we're in this league, I think you've got players there that even if they've got their own deficiencies, they're at least giving a shit. They're throwing bodies in the way. They're trying to win games. They're trying to match the opposition. And like you said yourself, when we had the magical David Moyes on the Championship with Grayson and Coleman, who both severely underachieved with what they had, we didn't have any of that.
That squad was good enough to stay in the Championship.
Easily.
Easily.
I don't care. I'm sick of people bringing up the goalkeepers it was. But anyway, that's a different argument.
How did Grayson even get that job? How was it possible he could be a Championship manager? How did he get that job in the first place?
But either way, the
combination of so many errors and never shot.
That's in the original point is that we've got the foundation. So I do think we could be doing better. I think that, and the reason people are probably harder to win over is because we're seeing Ipswich winning 4-1. We're seeing Wickham win 3-0. Like Wickham. No disrespect to them, but so the point is that we could be doing more, but at the same time, we've got a foundation there to build on. I think
the expectations are too high. I think at the moment we are where we are.
I've got to disagree with Philly, because he's saying stay in the league for another season, another 2 seasons. Definitely not, because financially on the financial side, Sunderland can afford to.
We could really do with getting promoted.
We could definitely. I mean, a wage bill now. I'm not sure what the wage bill is as it stands. But we haven't got the parachute payments starting next season, so all you're relying on is your season ticket sales, your sponsors, and your merchandise. Yeah. So if we don't get up this league this season, it's going. We could stay in this league for a long time.
I mean, to address the point of expectation, I don't think expecting to get promoted from the 3rd tier is unrealistic expectations, though.
It's not.
No, right.
I know what you mean. Expecting to walk it. Yeah.
People are saying, and I think you mentioned it in your interviews. But Ipswich now being, I think the way you put it, Ipswich are 5 points clear, massive goal difference, whatever. Mm-hmm. Do you really think 5 points clear is
you're right, it's not much.
And we've got to play them.
You're right, we've got to play them at home, make it back, I suppose. But you've got to think what's going to happen in the next 5 games. Ipswich will probably win the next 5. Will we draw a couple, possibly?
By that same logic, though, you could say Ipswich could drop off.
It's hypothetical, exactly. It's, you're automatically saying that Ipswich are going to win the next 5.
No, I'm just.
I'll ask you this now: if you offered second now, would you take it?
100%. I'll take your arm off.
Yeah,
without it. As long as it's by Easter.
I do believe that if the takeover doesn't happen, we won't go up. We'll only go up if the takeover happens, for me, I think, because Donald has no money. If the takeover doesn't take place, we're better off staying in League One till we find somebody who can have the financial backing for the Championship.
Right, well, let me stop you on that, because we're going to come to that in a bit as well. All right, so very quickly then, along the line, man of the match for yesterday?
Luke 19.
Joe Lynch.
Same, Joe Lynch.
Joe Lynch for me as well, actually. But Luke 19 a close second. Definitely. So... on to Jack Ross. 2 wins this week, 1 away at a Premiership club. Are we his friend again now?
Like I said last week, I was the Jack Ross out, and I basically still am, but I said last week, if he went on a 20-game unbeaten run, proves me wrong, then good luck to the bloke. I don't want him to get sacked. I want him to win every single match to the end of the season. But at the same time, you've got to be realistic.
Well, we're 10 games in. And at the start, when we started doing this panel,
we did say 10 games.
We did say given 10 games.
That's why I said now you have to, you got to back Jack Ross. I said if he wasn't in the top 6,
Got to back Jack.
if he wasn't in the top 6, 10 games in, he's 5th. So at this moment in time, he's just barely keeping his job.
I just hope
you gets run over by a bus.
No, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. It's like it's a case of I hope when it's sitting here in Easter time and all four of us sitting here and saying, what if we made a change? What if you know what I mean? I'm just hoping that the same thing last season doesn't happen this season, because I'll ask these four now. Do you think that we've improved this season as a team? Do you think anything's changed?
I don't think we have, but I don't think we've had that financial clout or backing that people think we have. I think we've spent nothing in the transfer window, so he's had no budget to play with. But for me,
I think apart from Cattermole going, I don't think the squad's weaker. Stronger is a debate, but I certainly don't think it's weaker.
I think it's weaker.
Do you think we've got a?
I think apart from Cattermole, I think the squad's level's pretty much the same.
Have we actually got a style of football? Have we got a style of player? I mean, have we got a style of football?
Second half relaxed, laid back, isn't it? Really, just to soak up the pressure.
The biggest question is whether what we're doing now is sustainable over the course of the whole season. If it's sustainable and it gets us promoted, fine.
Right. Well, let me ask the question then to Sean. Right. If we win the league by Easter, or we go up, we win the league, you're still not going to be happy with Jack Ross, are you?
No. I'm just thinking of the long term. Like, obviously, I think an half decent manager could have come into this squad and get promoted.
But he could second half the season he could learn from mistakes and
he could,
I just feel like, what has the guy got to do? I mean, I'm not here fully 100% behind Jack Ross, right? A lot of the time on this panel, I want to play devil's advocate and sort of put the other side of the argument across. And I'm not 100% behind him myself, but I do feel, what has the guy got to do? Because there's so many people against him. And as we said last week, if we were down the bottom, then, it would be justified.
I think it's just when you get games like drawing against Bolton and drawing, Rotherham's a good side, maybe might think we'll be in the top 6 or thereabouts. Yeah. I think it's just the performances as well. I mean, as my mistakes earlier on, you just want a team that's going to give 100% and chase everything down, pressing, and give their all. And I just don't see that.
I don't want to see long ball hoofed football.
No, it's just pointless. What's the point in hoofing a long ball? Charlie White is going to have 2 defenders on him, and he gets beaten 90% of the time. You know what I mean? You need to play to the feet, play football.
I think when it comes to Jack Ross, I've said that I was on the fence since the start of the season, and then Bolton tipped me to the Ross out camp. But I'm not against the idea of him winning me back and turning me over. I hope he proves me wrong. I really do. I just think that a lot of the frustration comes from, are we learning from what happened last season? And I think, again, it comes back to it again, the desperation of getting out of this league. Because everything, whether it's fair or not, everything Jack Ross does is going to be minutely scrutinised and detailed to the nth degree.
They're all a bunch of twats.
It's because of, like as I keep on going back, it's because of last season. Obviously, people are still learning a little bit. And I think it was imperative that he got off to a good start this season. Has he got off to a good start?
Which you could argue, yes.
We're fifth. We've only lost 1 game, won 5, drew 4, lost 1. Is it a good start? It's not bad. We're in thereabouts. But this is what happened last season. We're thereabouts. And then this season, we'll go through a sticky spell, and we'll draw a few games and we'll drift off.
The thing is, for me, if a manager wins games of football, you can't sack him. So if he goes on an unbeaten run for quite a while, then he has to keep his job.
I think if there's any criticism I would say, well, it's not just against Jack Ross, to be fair, it's against a lot of the coaching staff and the recruitment, is that we could have probably gone and, whereas I think we were top 6, I think it's pretty certain, I'm certain we'll finish top 6. But when you look at, majority of this league is pretty pants, to be fair. But then you look at, I'm at the point where I think we'll be top 6 with a half chance, with some chance of a top 2 finish. What I would have wanted to have seen us do was go out and get the players that would go from top 6 to maybe top 2 to top 2 to maybe first.
Yeah.
Right. Let's move on to the takeover then. And a couple of questions. Do you think it's still on or not? Is one I'm going to ask. And then I want to mention Stuart Donald's honesty, if you like, for want of a better word, because I'm sure you saw that on social media yesterday or the day before. he'd done a talk at one of the fans.
Right.
And then there was this thing of where the takeover now is only 50-50.
I think what he meant there was, is it not 50-50 means like it's half done?
Well, to be fair to Stewart, he went on onto Twitter, and his quote was, what he said at this talking was, "I can't say too much, but it's not quite as advanced as people make out, but it's better than 50-50. Nothing is done until it's done. We will know in 1 or 2 weeks. Too many rumours with people pretending they know more than they do." So he's said that at this talking. Obviously, people have gone away and then put their own slant on it and said what they've said. Stewart's had to go on to Twitter and quote what he actually said. For me, I love his honesty, but this is one of the times that at that talking, when that question was asked, how advanced is the takeover, whatever, Stewart should have said, "Lads, you'll have to appreciate, but I can't really divulge. I'd love to tell you." And that would have been the best thing to do, because all it did with him being so honest and saying how it was, then creates this, oh my God, it's not going to happen because now it's only 50-50, he said, and he's just been a bit too honest there. So do you still think it's going to go through?
100%.
Yeah,
I do. I think it's going to go through. I don't want to sort of like conspiracy theories and things, but Stuart Donald's honesty, he only releases what he wants to release. He's not going to like exactly tell you what's going to go on. So whether he's being completely honest, I don't know. But if it's 50-50, for me, that's like half done. So I don't.
Well, more than 50-50.
Yeah, I don't see why it won't go
Better
through.
than 50-50.
So I'm pretty confident it'll go through, and I hope it does go through.
Sean?
It'll go through. He told us anyway.
What he's told you?
He
He said, "Oh,
Oh, well, there we go.
yes, mate. Give him a ring."
Oh,
So, Michael?
Stuart first,
Stuart, get yourself on.
Yeah, Stu, you're invited on if you want to come on.
Go for it. Come in time.
And you still got to do the football challenges with me yet. So, right.
half time at the stadium.
I'm still waiting for the interview, Stuart, as well.
If he comes on the show, he can take part in the five-a-side football, can't he?
So if you watch
Why not? Get Charlie on. Charlie on as well. I'm sure they'll be alright footballers. Look, let's say that. I mean, I'd slightly disagree with the too honest thing, because I think that's what Donald for me probably should have said. Because if you're saying like, if you're going to try and make it sound more advanced than it is, then people are going to get ahead of themselves. Although I do appreciate that maybe he could have said, "Look, I can't go into it too much, but look, I'd love to, but what happens, happens," or something along those lines. For me, I think people are worrying too much. I think it is going to go through, and people have got to remember, even if the takeover happened anyway, when's the earliest we could see money? It's either going to be January, and we might not even spend money then, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would much rather it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm as impatient as anyone else. I want to see it get done. But I'd rather it was done properly, done longer, and done right, than rushed through, and then we end up regretting it in a couple of seasons' time.
Yeah.
You know, Mark Campbell, people were desperate for that to happen. Where would that have gone if that gone through? So you've got to get it right. You've got to get it right. For goodness sake, it happens when it happens.
Right, okay. So I think we're all in agreement that it's going to go through. And
hopefully it does.
I'm sure, you know, I've had people saying to me, "Oh, when the investors come in and, you know, we're the richest club in the world," and all that. I think people have just got to also understand that because of the fair play rules, this isn't going to happen overnight. You know, it's going to take time. They can't just come in and chuck billions at it, because
at the end of the day, the last time we had an owner that chucked loads of money, what happened?
Yeah.
So
right. Before we go on to the game against Lincoln on Saturday, I just want to touch on the stewards at the ground. Until yesterday, I hadn't witnessed what the Mad Mistake has been saying about the stewards all of a sudden moving people out of seats when there's empty seats around them. I'm in the West Stand, and really there's not a lot of rabble where I sit like where you lot sit. But we had a situation yesterday where a steward came up and moved somebody because they changed seats. They weren't in their own seat. There's loads of spare seats around them. And I just don't get it. I'd like to think that if somebody from the club actually was watching this panel, what we're talking about now, could throw some light on it You know, if they're going to come back with health and safety or whatever, I don't get it, because, you know, if we had a full stadium, right, and there weren't spare seats, then 100% guaranteed we get that, right? Somebody sat in someone else's seat or whatever, that's fair enough. But when there's empty seats around you,
what's the problem?
why is this? Why is this a problem? And I would like, you know, somebody to the club, from the club to get in touch with us on the channel and just give us some explanation to why this is.
I can give you one explanation. Before Stuart Donald took over from the club, this never happened, apparently. I've been told it's only happened the last couple of seasons. I know one game last season, a lot of children did move round to the north stand, and as the penalty was being taken, I saw Sunderland was taking a penalty, and their goalkeeper, somebody actually threw something at the goalkeeper. So I think they are slightly worried about that happening again, but nothing like that. Yesterday there was a lot of heavies employed in these yellow and big blue suits, stood on the corner where we were, about 6 or 7 of them. And one of the guys behind the goal sort of instructed them to come over. 6 or 7 of them came over and went about 7 rows back where these kids were sitting. They were doing no harm. They weren't anywhere near the front where they could sort of impede throwing something on the pitch. They were sitting 7 rows back. They weren't doing any harm. They were sitting quietly. They came over, checked all the tickets, and they moved some of them on. And I've had other fans from other grounds saying that it doesn't happen in their grounds. It seems to only happen in Sunderland's ground for whatever reason. But there is 1 or 2 stewards out there that really are jobs worths. Really need taken into hand, because it's ridiculous. They think they'll own the place, think they'll run the place. You don't get this happening in the south stand. It's only in the north stand, as far as I know.
Didn't you say in one of your videos last week that one of your mates, I mean, perhaps if you want to see who it is, didn't he keep constantly getting targeted by stewards?
He did. But simple as was that he moved from the south stand to sit with me in the north stand. He doesn't do it.
Where there were loads of empty seats, by the way.
There's no bother whatsoever. He's a quiet lad. He sits by himself with me.
Yeah, I've met him. He's a canny bloke.
Because, I don't know if it was because he was in one of my videos, the steward came down and they wanted to move him on. I think it was one match when I wasn't there was loads of empty seats behind the north stand, and he moved from the south to the north stand, sitting by himself, and there was nobody next to him. The steward told him to move. If he didn't move, he would be evicted from the ground. Now, for me, that's absolutely ridiculous.
No, it's out of order, that.
The next time he came over and sat with me, the steward came down to us and basically manhandled him, told him to move out of the ground. And they kicked him out. And I just thought it was appalling.
They banned him for the
next match. Yeah. So someone higher up is saying this is the right thing to do. But for me, it's absolutely... Somebody else came on and said, because it was a Checker Trade Trophy, one of the matches last year, there was a young lass moving around and one of the stewards physically pushed her back into the seat, and her father was going absolutely mental. It needs sorting out.
Yeah, if anybody from the club does watch this, you know, and you could give us an explanation on that. You know, there could be a perfectly good explanation why you do that.
But at least shed
light on it. At least then, if you could tell us, then we can understand that, and it'll lessen the frustration, because people just don't know. And like you said, some of the stewards. I mean, I'm in the West Stand, but we had one. She's not here this season, but last season, this lass walking up and down, and all the lads around me, they would she was like the Gestapo, and absolutely ridiculous, you know, for just on a power trip. And that's the problem with a lot of these stewards. Not all of them. Yeah. Some of them, you know, are pretty good.
Obviously it depends if they're under higher instruction to do this, but something tells me it might just be individual stewards. I don't know. It just depends.
I would say 95% of them are okay. It's just 1 or 2 really spoil it for the rest of them.
Yeah. Right, okay then. So again, an explanation to what's happening with these stewards would be nice if there's anybody out there who could throw some light on that for us. So moving on, we win at Sheffield United. We beat Milton Keynes Dons. We now go to Lincoln on Saturday, who are having a bit of a rough time now since the Cowleys have moved on. So, what are we expecting Saturday? I'll wait till you've had a drink.
I'm going for you know what it is? I'm going to feel confident. I'm going to go for the first clean sheet of the season in League One. I'm going for a 2-0 victory.
So you're saying a 2-0 victory down there, confident?
Confident.
Easy. Sean?
1-1.
Just a genuine question. Has he ever predicted us to win?
I'll tell you what. Well, before we do this, the predictions for last week against the MK Dons. Do you know what you had?
3-1.
3-1. I had 3-1 as well. And Sean, you had
1-1.
a 1-1 home draw, and Dino had a 1-1 home draw. And if Michael had been here, he would have had a 1-1 home draw as well. I just don't know what we've got to do. A 1-1 draw, is that what you want?
That's just the way I feel. That's just the way I just...
Maybe, I don't know if I am a glass half full. I'm positive thinking all the time. I do. But I just think, and maybe I am too far that way, but you're too far the other way. We are. I'll tell you what.
I'm a realist, Philly. I'm a realist.
I'll tell you what, you are.
To be fair, though, expecting to win games is also realistic in this league.
Right, Michael?
Yeah, 2-1 Sunderland.
2-1 Sunderland.
I will point out, because I got asked off one of my mates a few weeks back before the Accrington game what I thought was going to happen. And I said, beat Accrington, draw at Rotherham, lose to Bolton. Got 2 of them right, nearly got the third one right, but thankfully I didn't. And then I said we'd beat MK Dons and Lincoln, so I'm sticking with that.
I said we beat Bolton 4-0 the other week, see, so I do, I am positive sometimes, but then when you watch the Rotherham game and you watch...
To be fair, I was the real negative one with Bolton, because I said we'd lose.
Right, well, I think they're on a downward spiral, I think, Lincoln. So I do think we'll concede, right? But I'd like to say 3-1, but I'm going to say 4-1.
Oh, okay then.
Philly give us off.
Obviously, put it this way: if Oxford can go and beat them 6-0 there, then we should be able to go down and at least win it.
Right. Let's
won't be an easy game.
Let's quickly move on, because we really are sort of running out of time now. We did ask because we're not streaming live. We did ask if you want to ask us any questions for us to answer on the panel. Stick them in the comments. So. We got 3 people. Thanks. So it's only fair that we try and answer your questions. Chinwart on YouTube. We were discussing about, as always, conceding. So he said, would playing 3 at the back instead of 4 not actually give us more chance of a clean sheet? And the reason he's saying, he suggests, right, if we play a 3-1-4-2 formation, having Max Power in midfield, right, with Wyke and Grigg up front, Max Power could work with Grigg from midfield, right, and 09 being the one that's ahead of the 3 defenders and just behind the midfield, working as an engine for both the defence and midfield, therefore making us more an attacking threat and able to produce more chances, which in turn would make the other team more apprehensive about going forward. To him, showing us that we're out for the win. So
sorry, Jim. No, I wouldn't go back with 3 at the back, because we've tried that, it didn't work. I would just stick obviously the 4-2-3-1. I don't agree with it. I'll play 4-4-2, personally speaking, but not go 3 at the back again. That just didn't work.
Bad mistake.
It's well thought out. It could possibly work, but it's not something I would do.
Michael?
I personally wouldn't, but I think if you had Ozturk, Willis and Lynch in the back 3, I don't think that's the worst back partnership you could think of. The only issue I have with it, and it's a subjective thing, the only reason I'm having an issue with 3 at the back is that there's hardly any width in that, and considering that majority of our play relies on width to get forward, we probably could do with wide players, because then it puts 2 wing backs and it puts all the pressure on them to get forward and back at the same time.
It's wing backs again.
So I appreciate the thought, but no, personally.
Right,
no.
okay. For me, no, I would. I'm a firm believer that we go with the back 4 and we keep the back 4 and play the same back 4 so they get used to playing. And exactly. I think that's our best chance.
Thanks for the question, though.
Right, so also Mark W on YouTube, and I think he's in America, Mark. So thanks for tuning in.
Dedicated fan.
He's saying everyone complains about Ross not knowing his best starting 11. So he'd like each of us to tell us what our best starting 11 would be, bearing in mind that if everybody was fit. So individually, have you done your homework or not? I bet I'm the only one who's done it. I'm the one with the most work to do. and I've got my team down here. Have you got a team?
I have got a team, but
I'll tell you what.
I've got mine in my head.
I don't need that.
You don't need
I have got a team, but I wouldn't always play the same system home and away. I'd go 4-4-2 at home.
I agree.
And I would have, obviously, the way it's gone the last few weeks, I put Burge in goal, like I said earlier on today. Then at right back, Conor McLaughlin. Left back, De Bock. Then Lynch and Willis in the centre backs, like yesterday. Then I have Max Power, Dobson. McGeady, obviously all these are fit. McGeady on the left, Maguire on the right. And I'd play Mark McNulty, and I can't for the life of me leave out 09. But I'd want, like the 09 and McNulty, taking turns, play the system that Burnley do, where as soon as they lose the ball, one of them has to go back and help the midfield. Probably more 09 than Mark McNulty.
Right, okay, move on, because we're running out of time.
John McLaughlin in goal, Conor McLaughlin right back, De Bock left back, centre halves, Joe Lynch, Jordan Willis. 2 sitting, if he plays the 4-2-3-1. I would go McGeoch and Dobson. And I would go the 3, I would go McGeady, Maguire, 09, and striker I would go with Mark McNulty.
Okay, I'm going to have a slight variant on it. I would actually go with a 4-1-3-2 because I think we could probably do with one sitting midfielder, and I think you get a bit more attacking. This is at home. I would have a McLaughlin in goal. I'm sorry, I've said it many times. I still don't trust Conor McLaughlin, so I'll put 09 right back. I put Lynch, Willis, and De Bock at the moment, although De Bock did well yesterday. I think Power would sit in front of the defence. As much as I think McGeoch's a technically good player, I don't think he's our best midfielder. Have not 09, Dobson. God, I can't get it right. Dobson in the centre of the 3 with McGeady and Maguire either side, and then McNulty and Grigg up front. Because if you keep playing Grigg, he'll get chances and he'll score goals.
Right then, for me, what this did when I sat down and put the team together was it made me realise how pretty decent our squad actually is. Because I've got 11 names down here, and you're quite right. It depends what formation, what system you're playing on what goes. So basically, what I've done is I've taken 11 players in there, and you can put them in whatever position you want, right? But I've still had to leave players out where I thought, well, you know, he could have gone in there. So what I've gone John McLaughlin, Conor McLaughlin. I don't think has been as bad as everybody's made it. I know he's made some horrendous errors, but you know, there's certain games where I thought, yeah, I can see the potential there. So I would put him in. Joe Lynch, Jordan Willis, Lauren De Bock, Chris Maguire, Power 09, McGeady, McNulty and Grigg, and like I say, you can play them in any position, like any system you want. You know, I like McGeoch, can't put him in. Gooch could probably get a place in there. Ozturk, you know, there's Ledbetter, there's plenty you could still put in that. But that's what I would say. And finally, moving on, one last question. Last week, because the Mad Mistake made the comment that there's only 2 certainties in life, which were death and taxes, and I said, and nurses. The final question was actually from my wife, who said, "Who are these nurses?"
Karen, he's paid us a lot of money to say nothing. Okay.
Oops.
No comment.
Right. So that's it. That just about wraps it up. What I will do is I'll quickly inform you now that Newcastle Fans TV have been on to us. So hi, lads. And they've challenged us to a game of football. At the end of the season, we're going to do an 11-a-side for charity. So we are going to be putting a team together for that. But before that, in November, we're going to play them at 5-a-side. So we may need some new members for our team because we're all shit. So we'll be putting that out there to you as well, and we'll give you details of when that's going to be and where that's going to be if you wanted to come along and cheer us on. We are still looking for volunteers, volunteer reporters. We could do with some more reporters. If you are genuinely interested, stick something down in the comments or email us at our email address, SAFC Fan TV 73 @gmail.com. We'll be back next week at 3 o'clock. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share it all over the place, leave us a comment, and don't forget, of course, our individual channels, The Mad Mistake, Wee Philly, Michael Bowers, and we will try and get Sean to get onto YouTube on his own channel.
In the meantime, all of our Twitters and social
media.
But
Sean is on Twitter. If you want to get in touch with Sean, what's your Twitter?
At Sean Middleton 15.
There you go. And we've all got Twitter and Instagram and social media. So if you want to get in touch with us through then, you can. So thanks for tuning in. If you've got any questions for next week you'd like us to answer, stick them in the comments below. And we'll see you all next week. See you. Bye.
See ya.
See ya.